Onyx Storm. 20 unhinged fandom theories you didn't know. So, Onyx Storm didn't just give us more dragons and trauma bonding, it set a trap. Rebels became dukes, dragons graded humanity like a failed group project, and Violet learns she can peel open people's minds. But at what cost? And then there's Broccoli, the kitten who may or may not evolve into the Empyrean's ultimate weapon. Today, we're spiraling through 20 unhinged theories about Onyx Storm. The ones that matter, the ones that change everything, and the ones you didn't even realize were staring you in the face. And if you missed even one of these, you're already behind. Hold your wyverns close, because Theory 1, it kicks open the door to your brain and changes the locks. Theory 1. Violet's new power is basically brain hacking. Violet didn't just level up, she rage quit the tutorial and hacked the game files. The fandom nickname, Mind Peel, exists for a reason. She can crawl into your nightmares, rearrange the furniture, and walk out with your trauma like it's a free sample. That's not empathy, that's brain surgery with glitter gloves. The scary part isn't even the raw power, it's the escalation. Once you can dive into someone's head, where do you stop? Villains weaponize it to torment. Heroes justify it as for the greater good. Either way, congrats! The subject now has permanent brain rot. Bigger theory. This is the time bomb trope for Book 4. Once dream striding exists, the clock is ticking. The war stops being swords and dragonfire and flips into mental MMA. Dreams as battlegrounds, consent as the first casualty. Fandom's already going feral with flowcharts. If bonds get blocked or cut, dreamwalking becomes the only Wi-Fi signal left. But it's paid in moral bankruptcy. A Reddit spiral even predicted Violet will literally inception Xaden out of the void by crawling inside his POV nightmares. Translation: every bad dream is a ticking timer, and Violet's the one holding the detonator. Do we have receipts? No. Do we have paranoia? Absolutely! Which means we're probably right. Theory 2. Dragons are grading humanity like a group project. The dragons aren't mentors. They're dragons. Full stop. You're just enrichment in their zoo. The tone is probation, not partnership. If the council decides humans are a net liability, impulsive, venom-susceptible, geopolitically messy, they'll simply leave. So what if Book 4 then pivots from surviving enemies to surviving abandonment? Imagine defending cities without aerial supremacy because your apex allies left you on red. It's not about losing. It's about being declared not worth saving. Theory 3. Rebels become dukes overnight. Whiplash report, Rebel to Regent in 2 chapters. That's less revolution, more regime reskin. The uncomfortable theory? The rebellion's arc is veering toward meet the new boss energy. If Violet's intent is change, the rebellion's just capitalism in cosplay. So for Book 4, are we getting revolution or just new management? Theory 4. Broccoli the kitten has Marvel post-credit energy. A kitten named Broccoli sounds like a set dressing. Until you remember, Yarros doesn't waste page real estate. Cats in fantasy are never just cats. Either they're familiars, they signal ward energy, or they're narrative fuse wire. Fans are already refusing to treat him as a punchline. We can all agree that he must be protected at all costs, and Rebecca needs to assure us that he's safe and loved somewhere. Which reads cute, but it's also a demand. If you put a cat in play, you better close the loop. There's also the claw card kitten theory making the rounds. The game omens, the accidental acquisition, and the conspicuous silence afterward. The moment broccoli padded onto the page, readers started waiting for the after-credits scene where the kitten glows, hisses, or drops a prophecy. We're not saying broccoli detonates the plot. We're saying if he doesn't matter, the fandom will riot. Theory 5. Title trickery. We expected meteorology. We got psychology. Onyx isn't the weather, it's Xaden. Storm isn't the sky, it's Violet. The title reads like a coded forecast. Shadows and chaos. Was that trollish? Maybe. Was it effective? Also yes. Titles as misdirection is an old writer trick. The series has officially entered the era of semantic landmines. Theory 6. Xaden's shadows aren't obedient. They're alive. Xaden's not wielding a tool. He's negotiating with a force. The book keeps showing edges where his will slips, and fandom has receipts. One thread zeroed in on a line that gave everyone the chills. I could reach the rank of Maven, watch every vein in my body turn red as I channel all the power, and I would still love you. Readers called it straight foreshadowing of an arc where the darkness escalates beyond his control. The emotional implication? The romance survives only if Xaden resists letting his power destroy him. Here's the theory math. If shadows behave like an entity, with appetites and memory, every save is basically shadows, nom nom nom, on his humanity. The question isn't whether he loves Violet, it's whether the thing inside his power loves anything but growth. What if, by book 4, the shadows stop asking, and they start taking? Theory 7. The Venom are like, join our family plan today! The Venom are basically a pyramid scheme. Recruitment trees, fake mentorship, manufactured scarcity. A fan even said the quiet part out loud. Think pyramid scheme, but instead of overpriced vitamins, the buy-in is your soul. Step back and the vibe shifts. The Venom aren't a boss fight. They're a multi-level nightmare. You don't slay one Dark Lord and win, you cancel one subscription while 5 more auto-renew in the background. And that's the real Book 4 question. Not who's at the top, but how do you stop the auto-renew? Theory 8. Violet is getting too comfortable with violence. In Book 1, we met a girl who couldn't haul her own bag up the stairs. Now we have a commander who authorizes torture for intel, kills without visible shake, and compartmentalizes on command. Fans have been side-eyeing how fast the moral slider moved, and whether her chronic pain is narratively de-emphasized whenever the plot requires a clean action beat. Here's the uncomfortable read. Violet's arc is bending toward anti-hero. The core question was never, can she survive? It's, who does she have to become to win? Fans love her precisely because she's complicated. Scribe brain compassion welded to lethal capacity. But if Book 4 keeps the current slope, the line between necessary harm and normalized harm is bound to blur. We don't think that's an accident. It's the design. Do we want this? Unclear. Do we think it's where we're heading? Also unclear. We have vibes and anxiety. Theory 9. Violet's dragons are playing 4D chess. If we've learned anything by now, it's that dragons don't small talk. Everything is strategy. The bond read in Book 1 like destiny. By Book 3, it reads like the dragons are 12 moves ahead. The prickly theory? Violet was selected less for worthiness and more for a larger dragon agenda. If Ten and Endana are executing interspecies policy, then Violet's choice moments may have been scripted crossroads. Book 4 might flip agency on its head. Imagine thinking you're the main character, only to find out you are the dragon's pawn. Theory 10. Is the Empyrean map gaslighting us? Fans brought the spreadsheets. Distances don't consider flight times. Regions go unmarked, and half the book happens off-map. One post literally began, "My visual brain desperately craved a map of the islands." Then laid out time and wind math and asked if the final volcanic chain sits practically on Tyrandor's doorstep, with comments citing Chapter 43 passages to cross-check the distances. Another community thread said the quiet part out loud. Half of Onyx Storm takes place where we have no map. In conclusion, if it's in the book, put it on the map! And honestly, that rage is the fingerprint. What if it's not oversight, but censorship? We all know the drill. You're halfway through a chapter, flipping to the inside cover for the 10th time, finger tracing invisible borders like a lost cartographer. They know we need the map, which means a cartographer that hides those borders isn't incompetent. They're running a conspiracy. So maybe the in-world map isn't incomplete by accident. Maybe it's deliberately withholding. And yes, multiple posts begged for a fresh book map. We didn't get one. Just saying, it's us. Theory 11. The F-bomb count keeps rising for a reason. Okay, but listen. You hear it, and BookTok made it a drinking game that's basically speed-running organ failure, so your liver hears it. The clean read? Stylistic. As Violet spirals darker, so does the language. The gremlin read? Rebecca Yarros is literally dropping swear words like breadcrumbs. A profanity stock chart that's tanking straight into moral recession. It's giving Spotify Wrapped, but for Violet's vocabulary. Top artist? Rage. Top song? Fuck. Minutes listened? Too many. So yeah, maybe it's not random at all. It's Violet's actual barometer. The more F-bombs she drops, the closer we are to full moral meltdown. Forget heartbreaks. Track the profanity. Theory 12. The bond breaks before the war does. The series sold the bond as absolute. Die if you die. One soul in two bodies. But the edges are fraying. Glitched sinks, split loyalties, voices where they don't belong. And here's the nightmare spiral. Bond failure isn't just sad. It's basically the nuclear button of this world. Imagine living, still tattooed with your other half gone. A permanent magical phantom limb. Do riders lose signets? Do dragons ghost you and swipe right on a new rider? This isn't just angst. It would reset Basgiath's core philosophy. Because if bonds aren't eternal, then every oath in this world is just vibe. And you can't pay rent or win a war on vibes alone. Yes, this is where we spiral. Mid-war is the worst time for your soul contract to start freelancing. Theory 13. The prophecy was always a lie. Early books dangled destiny like a shiny lure, and Onyx Storm clipped the line. The emerging consensus? Prophecy is less divine truth, more management strategy. An excuse structure to push people into roles, squash rebellion, and pre-justify war. Fandom suggests that if scribes can script reality, then prophecy isn't fate. It's giving less Chosen One, more Google Docs with God mode on. So no, Violet isn't fulfilling fate. She's wrestling with someone else's outline. And Book 4's bonfire? It may not be Dragonfire. It's prophecy itself going up in flames. Side note, we'll be there, roasting marshmallows, our expectations, and probably the Goodreads reviews. Theory 14. There's a traitor inside the rebellion. The cracks in the good guys aren't stress, they're sabotage. One widely upvoted post spelled out how the ending handled the reveal. Blink and you'll miss it. Fans vented that the traitor twist landed without build-up and then died off-page. Which the thread pivoted into who else might also be compromised. The fandom's like, yeah, we're skipping local suspects and filing this one under Upper Management Problems TM. Brennan's strange rune, his foreknowledge, and how much off-page orchestration seems to pass through his hands. One user even posited he could be a bad guy, TBH. Whether you buy that or not, it proves the mood. Readers suspect someone we like has already flipped. If it's Mirror, the internet will stage a coup. And yes, there's a whole who is the traitor deduction thread picking apart combat skill tells like it's a murder board. Look, we might occasionally go full lunatic, but also, sometimes we're right. Theory 15. Violet's scribe brain is the real weapon. Memory used to be a quirk. Now it's becoming a lethal edge. When bonds fail and powers corrupt, the real winner might be the one who remembers. The arc reads, scribe to strategist to law saboteur. Violet doesn't just record truth, she reframes it, spotting systems, rules, and lies. In a world obsessed with who controls the narrative, the most dangerous person may be the woman who remembers everything and chooses what to do with it. So what if Book 4 leans even harder on that? What if Violet can weaponize memory? Theory 16. The Venom and the Veil. Okay, but is it just us? Or do the Venom feel less like invaders and more like side effects nobody ordered? Fans keep mapping the parallels between their corruption and the land's history, especially the way magic behaves near old boundaries. If the Veil isn't cursed, but contaminated, destroying Venom means addressing the source, not the soldiers. Imagine finding out that the rebellion's safest territory is actually the toxic situationship, slowly killing it. Map obsessives are already triangulating locations the book glosses over. A DIY Islands map post even suggested the final chain sits startlingly close to Tyrrendor, raising questions about where the home base truly is, and whether old ward lines coincide with Venom Bloom sites. That's not just cartography, that's epidemiology, with the energy of a true crime podcast hosted by Venom who keep interrupting each other to hiss, "Actually, it's about the land, not us." Like, girl, we get it. You're not the problem, it's literally the bad vibes in the soil. Theory 17. Violet and Xaden are a dark mirror, not a safe ship. We swoon because they're combustible. We suffer because that's also the warning label. Fandom keeps pulling the quote threads that feel like pre-tragedy framing. Xaden's Maven line went semi-viral, with readers calling it straight foreshadowing of a break where love survives but everything else burns. Commenters immediately asked how that squares up with Violet's "if you hurt my people, I give up hope" stance, meaning the text is already positioning love versus loyalty as the immovable object. So no, Book 4 probably won't hand us a cure. We'll get cryptic signals, borrowed names, nightmare DMs, and then the ugliest math problem ever. Love, or literally everyone else. Theory 18. The Griffins are shady. Allies? Sure. Transparent? Not even remotely. Their silences read like pragmatism, watching both sides, preserving their own. That's not a grand betrayal, that's just big spreadsheet energy. But it does mean ally is conditional. When the board reshuffles, expect a taloned hand to quietly move the other way. Griffins don't posture with speeches or loyalty pledges. They hedge their bets. They're the friends who Venmo you for drinks but ghost when the cops show up. And the worst part? They're not wrong. They act like they've already read the last page, and they're making survival choices accordingly, which makes them the most unnerving allies in the room. The ones who smile at you while calculating whether you're still useful tomorrow. TLDR, if Book 4 decides to hurt us, don't be surprised if the Griffins hand us the knife with a polite bow. Theory 19. Death might not be permanent. Between venom corruption and Violet's mind hacks, the boundary around gone is thinning. No, we don't mean clean resurrection arcs. We mean the worst kind. Revenants, recall, hostile mind occupancy. Picture Violet facing someone we buried and loved, standing upright, with the lights on but no one home. The series already toys with memory erasure and identity slippage. Stepping from there to perverted return is a half step. If Liam shows up wrong, we will walk into the sea. Theory 20. Book 4 is designed to break us. Onyx Storm basically set up a group project from hell. Rebels imploding, dragons restless, bonds glitching, one main character crossing every line, and a love story sprinting toward a cliff. Fandom is toggling between corkboards and cry posts, missing maps, sus eggs, and multiple prediction threads are already gaming out Violet in his dreams equals rescue mission. We're not asking who dies, we're asking if we'll survive Chapter 1. Bonus theory: the hidden third POV. Onyx Storm basically ran on side quests. Brennan playing Puppet Master, Mira cosplaying Magnus Carlsen, and dragons out here doing equations no one asked for. The story keeps parking pivotal information just outside the page. The theory? Book 4 cracks open with a third narrator. The question isn't if, it's whose eyes will we be forced to see the war through? If it's the hooded figure, I'm eating drywall. Fans didn't just read Onyx Storm, they unraveled it. Every whisper became a theory, every shadow a clue. The book handed us loose threads, and then we spun them into webs. What started as Violet and Xaden's spiral became bigger. Dragons plotting coups, rebels working out their trauma, and yes, a kitten named Broccoli accidentally ascending to prophecy status. This wasn't a comfy midpoint. It was ignition, a story that didn't close doors, but blew them wide open. Now, all eyes are feral locked on Book 4. Psychic warfare? Dragon HR complaints? Family secrets detonating mid-chapter like landmines? Nobody knows. But one thing's clear. This fandom is not touching grass until we get answers. So what's the one theory living rent-free in your brain? Drop it in the comments. Because if Onyx Storm lit the match, Book 4 is bound to be the full-on dumpster inferno. We're in too deep. And honestly, the flames are kinda cozy now. Mwah.